administrative thing.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see my screen here? So
Yeah.
this is what the admin people will see, okay? And the first screen is actually a dashboard. And actually, I didn't send you this picture, so let me do that. It doesn't have to look like this, but it could look like this. And this is the actual screen that they use at UTMB to look at stroke. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And for sepsis, it can be some other shit, but like, you know, fill in the same. I think my subsequent screens are about sepsis, so sorry, I mixed some things up here. But basically, I want you to do this kind of dashboard, administrative dashboard type view. Then there'll be a settings view, right? And that will have things like, here are the 5 or 6 registries. Imagine kind of a quality manager looking across registries, and there'll be some toggle button that's like on off. You can toggle this on or off.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be some statistics, like usage statistics, the number of patients that have been looked at this month, like an acceptability percentage, you know, some made up numbers here, like that, like high numbers, 90, 95, 95, 96, whatever percent, for like user acceptance, which is just users voting how they like it. You know, these are alerts, which are the system alerting us to the need for escalation and then escalations. And then forget about this data screen thing, that's irrelevant. And then there's another screen that's the third kind of administrative screen, which is the analysis section, which I think should look a lot like our chat window. And so like, you know, like what kind of analysis do you want to run would be the text underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there'd be like sort of 3 common prompts that are used to conduct analyses. And so here you might type in something like, show me the last 10 patients that had, you know, sepsis in our system, or show me the last 10 patients for whom we did not order a blood culture on time, you know, and show me where those patients were, you know, something like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be essentially chatting with the database that has been created, the CSV file essentially that's been created, that you know, that the sort of the abstraction work is created. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So we're extracting all the charts, we're creating a table or a database, and then you can chat with that database.
Exactly. And that's the analysis window, right? So this is what the administrators get access to. Okay. It's like this plus this dashboard plus these 2 other screens of like settings and analysis. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to show you the actual kind of like, what does the that was weird. What does the actual abstractor see?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the quality registry and measurement, and it'll be the title of the thing will be here. It's not that different than our actual. Let's see here for a second. So our actual. We go to our qualified chat, like demo. Are you seeing my screen still? I don't know what.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look here, like it's not that different than this page. You know, I think this looks good, except I would say quality reporting measurement stroke underneath this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it should say not this random thing, but it should say stroke. And then you can say, look for, so, you know, there could be a search window that looks for stroke, but whatever. This is, all these patients should be stroke patients or sepsis patients or whatever they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being mixed up all together here in a big melange of stuff, okay? But it shouldn't look all that different. It's just a matter of picking the right things, right? So here is the right things. This is the window that says, you know, like when was it generated, patient name, MRN, date of birth, arrival date of presentation, and then sorry, make this sepsis. I've got obviously confusing things here. So make this sepsis rather than stroke, and then it would be severe sepsis presentation time. That's this thing here, and then if this would be numerator and denominator, and then whether this patient has been verified, yes, no. All the way down, right? And then as patients are verified, I'm going to show you what verifying means in a second. All of these columns will be sortable, right? So you can sort by numerator, sort by denominator, sort by severe sepsis presentation time, sort by verification status. You know, all of these would be sortable. And then as patients are verified, their records would essentially convert to Ys here, and they could be moved to the bottom of the queue, or they can be actually removed from the queue potentially. Like, you know, that's an open question as to whether we remove them or just move. I think it's simply moving them to a yes is sufficient for now. Okay, so that's that screen. Now the next one is what you do when you click into a screen. So the way we have it set up right now looks like this, but this is pretty inert, and it allows you to do this inspection thing, which I don't think is actually important for the purposes of what we need the abstractors to actually do. So here is the revised version of this screen. Shit, I didn't make this big. So it's set up the same way, more or less. So you can, you know, feed it the screenshot of our existing thing, MRN, name, date of admission, date of birth, numerator and denominator, which is the kind of critical final conclusion for sepsis. And then a table that looks like this. That's the inspection table for all of the major variables that need inspection, right? And this could be a very long list. It could be like 50 different things. But the first 10 of those things are a series of times, which are the elements that we want the human abstractor to verify in this column, okay? And so what you're gonna get is the, for example, this is the first one, severe sepsis presentation time, right? And the abstraction gives you a value of 1500. And this is confidence. Sorry, my handwriting is shit. But that's confidence, and the confidence is high. And this is a little toggle button that the abstractor will be default set to not having been verified, you know. And then you click it when the sorry, no, what I wanted you to do is put edit in here, right? So put a field here to edit the abstraction time. So this is where the abstractor will go into the record, look up this time, and see if the abstractor got it right. The abstraction tool got it right. And if they didn't get it right, they'd put something in here. They'd write a number in here, and then they would click verified. And if there's anything in here, it would use this as the actual time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand the workflow. I'm thinking about the implementation and like how it's going to look. So the user wants to verify all the times.
Correct.
Our tool is going to make it easy for them to click and say, like, we come up with an estimate, high, medium, low confidence estimate.
Yes.
And they'll click it. They'll be able to see in the source, like, where it was derived from.
You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. So I think that's what we were doing before.
Yeah.
What I want them to do is still have the chart open on the left, like on a different screen. And I want them to do the human abstraction to perform the task of finding this time, the severe sepsis presentation time, or the lactate time, or the broad spectrum antibiotic time. Like, I want them to do that step. And then once they do it, they either say, oh, it is 1500. They just click verified, done. If they go to lactate time and the actual time was 1532, then they're going to enter 1532 and then click verified, and that will close that out. And the same with broad spectrum antibiotics and so on down this list, right?
Okay.
And then once all of them have been verified, right, this will flip over automatically to green. And then the human will just need to say close chart, right? Like, we've done all the things that need to be done. The chart is closed, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that is the sum of the screens that we need for quality. So that's it. And, you know, the good news is it's not that different than what we have right now. This is the biggest change. You know,
right.
It's like what we have here. I don't think it's important for us to know that this time was secured from this location, you know, in the, you know, messy chart. We could have a situation where we have the chart below and we're referencing it, but the truth is that the chart itself is such a hodgepodge of stuff all mashed up together, and it's almost impossible to interpret. it takes so long to read it. I'm not even trying to find. I'm trying to find it, and I can't even find it. But like, it's hard to find. So it's probably not worth trying to do that.
Got it. So we still want this is the human in the loop element of the workflow. We need them to do this because it's such an important component of the actual measure calculation.
Correct.
So where are we saving them
we
time?
over time we might eliminate that step as we get progressively more confident about the extraction. Like we might be able to gray out some of those ones that we feel more and more like as we get higher and higher in our confidence around some of these things, gray them out and make them less necessary for human review. But as it is, I think these times are going to, especially these timestamps, which the entire sepsis thing is based on, is going to require that. There's a lot of other data that comes out that is extracted, like true false statements around like whether someone's pregnant, what their ethnicity is, like their name, their date of birth, like all that stuff we get right like almost every time we've run the thing. And I'm not worried about that, but I am worried about these timestamps. I'm not confident that we're nailing them with complete accuracy. So I'd rather have the humans verify them before we in V1 of this, I'd rather have the humans verify them. And then I think as time moves on, we'll slowly eliminate the ones as we get more and more, as we build our confidence, we'll gray them out. We'll start to like move them to high confidence, and then eventually they won't need humans to review them. So we'll shrink the total number.
Yeah. We're basically, this tool will save them some time.
Yes.
And so like there's value from day one, but then to your point, it's like like we're getting a hand labeled data set to fine tune whatever word you use, our extraction tool.
Yeah, they're telling us that we got the edit. They're providing the edit, right? They're saying the actual time was 1532 instead of 1530. So like we're gonna and again, like after, let's call it like, I don't know what number we want to set, but like say after 200 instances of successfully nailing the time, we increase our confidence from medium to high, and then we deprioritize it on the human review step. Will we get it wrong sometimes? Sure, but like the vast majority of the time we're getting it right. And the truth is that the humans get it wrong all the fucking time, right? Like, I mean, these charts are riddled with errors, like from what we can tell in the human abstraction every time we get it. So, I mean, we're definitely going to be better than humans, and we're going to keep getting better and better at it as people like label it. And as soon as, like, again, we'll make some thresholds for like how many do we have to see that we feel are accurate before we promote something, into a different category. So anyway, that's the idea.
Got it. Interesting. One last question just on the inspectability and like the tracing back to source stuff may not be necessary to your point because it's so messy.
Yeah.
I feel like it just shows really well in the demo. It's like a cool thing to talk about.
I could imagine a scenario in which we just show like, okay, so we don't have to not, like, we don't, like, I'm not saying that we don't, we could place, like, for example, just to use this screen for a second again, right? We could, I'm thinking out loud here, but like we could imagine a scenario in which we, let's just say this is not the whole screen real estate, like this is 75% of it or something. And then over here, when you click on this, it can show the source documentation over here or something, like, you know what I mean? Like you can show the kind of present the source documentation for each thing once we click on it. But yeah, I mean, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe we can add that to our thing, show the source documentation over on the right.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, from a narrative standpoint, if we can avoid it and we're already going to like be pulling from source documentation, I'd like to try to pull it into our interface so that it's they could do it all from the same like screen.
Yeah.
And not have to do multi-tab work.
But the thing that I don't want them to do is rely on that source documentation, at least initially. I don't want them to rely on that source documentation to do the verification of this number. Do you know what I mean? Like I want them to
Interesting.
look back in the record. For now, I want them to look back in the record to actually tell me if this number is correct.
What does the record look like? What does the raw record look like?
Well,
Is it like a PDF? Like, I'm wondering if we could just have spitballing here. Part of the screen is like the same PDF that they're going to have open in their other
it's not
window.
they will have Epic open.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay.
They'll have Epic open on the other screen, and they'll be toggling back and forth between a bunch of different places in the record.
I see. I see. Okay, so that's
And
gonna be
what
harder
we're
for us to.
sourcing over here will be like basically a free text blob that will have like
Yeah.
that piece of information in the blob somewhere.
Yeah. 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 I see. We still want them to hunt for it in Epic, so it's still going to be a multi-screen.
It will be for now. It will be for now. Again, until we fully eliminate, until we build like super high confidence on all of these. And even when we do that, there still will be like one or two things I think I'm going to ask. We're always going to need them to go back to the record for. This one, for example, everything depends on this on time zero, right? This is time zero.
Yeah.
Right? So if you mess this time up, everything else will be messed up, right? Like,
Right.
and the conclusion of whether or not the person is in the numerator or the denominator, which is the sort of summary conclusion of this whole endeavor, is all based on the time, the distance from this time, this original time. So if this time is messed up, too late or too soon, even if all of these other numbers are correct, the conclusion may still be wrong. And
Got
so,
it.
like, there are a handful of things like that that we're always going to want the people to verify. And look, I think that these charts currently take like, how do I, oh geez. These charts currently take like 45 minutes to do. So like a single record takes 45 minutes. So if you can take that 45-minute time down to 10 or 15, verifying
Mhm.
10 relevant elements, it's still a huge amount of time saved. You know?
Right. Right.
And otherwise, it's an unfair fight. Like the abstraction engine takes 30 seconds, right? So a
Mhm.
time study is almost stupid, right? Because
Yeah.
a time study is foolish. But what we want is algorithm plus human versus human alone. And algorithm plus human is going to be something like 10 to 15 minutes per chart versus 45 to 60,
Mhm.
which is still massive.
Last question is just going back to how we want it to play with what's already built. Like, we're going to add screens, but in terms of the flow, like there's the squares that you can choose the app you want to go. You're going to choose the quality app, and then
Yep.
the next screen you see right now is the table of patients, but we want it to be kind of labeled for a specific measure.
Yep.
You can choose a patient. You can go and do the time
The inspection.
edit
Yep.
inspection workflow. But the first thing you were showing me, there's basically an analysis
Yeah.
page as well. So there'd be
That's
like
the
other,
administrative dashboard. So like consider
okay,
those,
separate.
yeah, consider them to be like almost different animals, right? So there's the admin dashboard, and then there's the people in the workflow screens. So
Okay.
the workflow screens are the rows and then that inspection element. The
Mhm.
admin screens are that like landing page with the dashboard that I showed you, the red and yellow and whatever colors, and then the
Mhm.
settings page and then the analysis window. Those are the three tabs in the admin section. So in the demo, it'd be nice to basically have the admin thing maybe off to the side, up up on the top, on the upper right of the relevant registry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that
Okay.
so that we know how
You
to
like click a dashboard button and then you can get over
you
to
get
that.
over to the dashboard, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to shortcut this. This recording is going to be an interesting one because I've got the transcript and stuff, and I'm just going to try to feed it
Oh,
basically
really? Oh, wow.
our conversation. We'll see how it goes.
Wow.
Yeah. All
Cool.
right.
All right. Let's see how it goes. All right.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Bye.